right, welcome to a special presentation from the Jumping the Rail podcast. This is Mark Rebin coming from the Noodles position in Champaign, Illinois, joined as always by my buddy Minderz and Dickie, third mic, Dickie Wabash from the Mad Bash Studios is joining us. We were going to have Michael Madrox with us, also the one-legged wonder, but he is unfortunately unavailable. But this is not your usual JTR. It's not going to be current wrestling, no news, nothing. It's just all talk here, and it's going to be a good one.
Yes.
So, Dickie, have you been able to survive today?
I'm here.
You are here.
So I survived for the most part.
Not sweaty, not overly overcome. I think we're good.
We'll save that for paid show.
All right. All right. Well, Dickie, why don't you do the honors and introduce our guest?
Oh, absolutely. To put it bluntly, I don't think this man requires an introduction. You know, former ECW heavyweight champion, 5-time ECW heavyweight champion, mind you, did my research on that one. Former ECW tag team champion, of course, with Too Cold Scorpio. And in my opinion, most importantly, the winner of the TNA Hard 10 tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, the hardcore icon, the Sandman, is here. I already see him rolling his eyes, probably because of the TNA Hard 10 tournament.
Did I actually win that thing?
You did, yes. According to Wikipedia, you were the winner of the Hard 10 tournament.
Yeah, I don't even remember. What a diabolical that was. No, it was so bad. And then they put me in charge of it. They let me freaking, I don't know, whoever said, because nobody knew what was going on, freaking. So then I think I booked the last couple matches, honestly. Like, I think, didn't New Jack might have had somebody in a prelim match, and I think I put that together or something.
I think it was you two in the finals, if I remember right. Yeah. That was so weird. It was like, what, 1 point? 1 point for a weapon hit, 5 points for going through a table. Just
remember.
The weirdest concept in the world.
You know, it's just they wanted to try something that nobody else did. You know what I'm saying? I can't fault them for that. Same thing as that 5-sided ring. You know what I mean? It's just different.
Yeah, it was definitely something different for sure.
Yo, so where's the one leg kicker dude at?
Oh, the one-legged wonder. He, my co-host, he sadly couldn't make it here tonight, but he sends his his best wishes. He's just as big a fan as I am. We talk about on our podcast. We have very fond memories of ECW. All of it. So we have nothing but great things to say about that time period. So he does send his regards. Sorry he couldn't be here.
I was kidding.
All right, do I get the first question? Can I have the first question?
There we go, girl. Start fire.
Oh, here we go, Minderz. Let's go.
So my first question is, who came up with the surfer gimmick, and how much did you hate that wetsuit?
Well, I had so I'm literally like less than like a couple months into my career. Like I started in March. By June, I had my first match, and then so Jerry Lawler called Joel Goodhart, the promoter of Tri-State Wrestling Alliance back in the day before it turned into Extreme or Eastern and then Extreme. And Lawler said he wanted a couple gimmicks. So I needed more of a gimmick. He didn't just want to come down there as a guy. So I'm the Sandman. I figure, get a surfboard and go down there as a gimmick. Next thing you know, I'm working on top with Lawler. I was there for probably like 3 or 4 months. After the first month, I was working on top with Lawler, so he liked me.
There you go. Well, that's important.
Well, they went under soon after that, though. Within the next, so I had a lot to do with killing the USWA, putting me on top with Lawler back in them days.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Really?
What's Reb got going?
Yeah, Reb, what do you got up?
I did a little homework. I've been listening to a lot of your own podcast that you did with your boys, and some things that came up that I didn't know. I didn't know that Todd Gordon was actually responsible for your current character, like getting rid of the wetsuit, going just to be more yourself.
Well, I came the first night. So I come back from it It's right around January. I don't know what the frick year it was, maybe 91 or something, whenever Paul got there. And Paul took one look at it. He goes, "We're going to break that surfboard over your head tonight." I was like, great. Because I wanted to get rid of it anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm glad it went bye-bye.
Yes. Yeah. So let's
process.
So let's throw on the Zubaz and let you go out there and drink the beer and smoke the cigarettes.
That's how I showed up to the arena, dude. I never had to get changed or anything, dude. I showed up, and that's how I just was. It was great. It was the greatest gimmick ever.
Yeah, you actually said one of my favorite documentaries is the Forever Hardcore documentary that Jeremy Borash produced. And you actually, you said in that documentary that there was a discussion backstage of like, you know, the surfer gimmick's not getting over. So let's just go let him be Hack. And when did you realize that it clicked? Like, was it a slow burn?
Yeah, Paul didn't love me as much as Todd did. You know what I'm saying? So Todd's like, listen. This is because Paul didn't love me. So Todd's like, listen, well, that ain't working. Let's let him go out there and be him. And then that's when it all clicked in with the cigarettes and the beer and everything. You know what I mean? I mean, it was a process doing it. You know what I'm saying? And then I got real lucky with getting the cane because of that kid Michael Fay in Thailand. You know, getting his 6 lashes or 6 or 8 lashes or whatever, and Paul got the idea to give me the cane sound, and then just all happened in like a 2-year time. Didn't all happen at once.
Didn't he just pull a branch off of a tree and?
Yeah, literally, we're standing under a tree, pulled a branch, picked all the little twigs off, and said, "Put some tape on this." I'd love to find that promo. I would love. I bet you I can ask Ron or Charlie next time I see him. I want to see that promo.
Yeah, that was probably really the first time that it clicked was the whole Tommy Dreamer, thank you, sir, may I have another? Like, I mean, you know,
Dreamer.
Yeah, Dreamer.
Thank you, sir, because I gave him when I was caning him the 10 times. That's a rugby saying. So I used to when I was playing rugby, I said I wanted to use it in there. But Tommy Dreamer I was hooking my wife, I was hooking Peaches out to him, and he wasn't paying his bills. So instead of being a heel like I'm supposed to, but in Philadelphia, you know, it's just the opposite. The more I would hook her out to people, and then I would beat him up because he wouldn't pay his bill for my wife. So we were doing that, and that was even getting me over, trying to be a scumbag. You know what I'm saying? It's like weird.
Yeah, and then the whole blinding angle, which I think that like people tend to forget about. Like that was really one of the first times majorly that kayfabe was broken. And, you know, like here's everyone backstage really kind of like, oh my God, Sandman's really hurt. Here's good guys, bad guys. And is it true that you did not leave your house? Like you sold it? Like
you have to understand, not everybody had a computer in their pockets back then.
That's fair. Yeah.
I mean? It's very early in my career. You know what I mean? So Paul, he puts me over like, oh, he didn't leave his house for like a month or stuff. But it's not like it is now. You know what I mean? You do anything, anytime, anywhere, people know, you know. It was different back then, so it was easier to kayfabe.
That actually goes into one of my questions I had for you, Sandman. Do you think that social media today is more of a hindrance, or is it more of a help for the wrestlers today?
It's just different now. It's kind of like, it's like, I'll give you a perfect example. Like back in the day, like matches used to be the way matches are. And now how many guys think that every match is like AEW, there are 8,000 spots to nowhere, right? So everybody, it's like, all right, well, look at the match that they had, the tag match that Cena and Cody that they just had the tag match. That was an old school match, dude. That was like right out of like Florida. You know, or Texas or something like that. That man, and it was a nice breath of fresh air to me. I mean, it was slow, you know what I mean? And I mean the heat on. I mean, how long can you have heat on Uso? You know what I'm saying? Right. It seemed like it lasted like a half hour on him, but things are just different now. So the media is the media, and it's an evolutionary thing. You know what I mean? So.
We're definitely an old school crowd here. I know Reb and I are. We're definitely old school. Dickie, I think you are too.
I'm kind of in the middle.
My son has to get me on these Zooms. I don't know how to do it. I don't. You ask your producer. He was talking to my son, not to me getting on this thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that we were able to get you on here. Yeah, it definitely seems like I think that wrestling is cyclical in a way. Like it definitely seems like what's old is new again. And I have said it about the Cena Cody match at Mania. That match felt very territory-esque. And it was just very simple heat from Cena, simple shine from Cody, stuff like that. And I think that we're starting to see kind of a comeback and like of what's old is new again.
Well, especially when literally everybody in the match is so over. You don't have to do anything for one. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look at the talent. Look at the top that company, the talent that's in that company right now. You know what I mean? Anybody that goes out there is going to be over huge. It's just the way it is. You know, it's crazy, but there's so many guys that are so over in that company right now.
Yeah, and it really is a boom period.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, compared to, it just makes no sense why now people love WWE, but people can't watch AEW. I don't get it. And their ratings aren't getting any better. WWE's, they're like a flat 5 million, I think, something around there.
Do you think tribalism is killing pro wrestling?
Wow, you mean, dude, as in like there's in like 10 years there'll be a company that's just Samoans?
Well, no.
I will like that.
I love it.
Dude, I always thought that. There's so many of them, they could literally have their own company.
I would be for it. No, I mean, like there's definitely there's like, it doesn't seem like there can be any middle ground, man. It's either you like one or you like the other. Why can we not like both? You know,
I don't know. It's hard to. I don't understand what AEW's. It's like, okay, so WWE ends up buying whatever the AAA or whatever.
AAA, yeah.
Okay, and now all of a sudden it's like they're going to AEW's going to Mexico. It's like they. It seems like every match there's Mexican guys in it. I don't understand. It's like, all right, so are they fighting against WWE over Mexican talent right now?
I don't even decide what they're fighting over.
How many Mexican 6-man tag matches there are now?
Yeah, that does seem like to be like maybe that's the territory that they're all fighting over. Of like maybe they can find the next top star from the Mexican territory. You know, I mean, maybe that's where they've chosen to fight their battles. It's hard to say.
They got those 4-hour shows. I'm like, oh my God, dude, these 4-hour shows. And there's so many 6-man matches.
On Wednesdays. It's not even on the weekend. It's on Wednesdays. They're dumb.
I got a job to wake up for in the morning. Are you kidding me? I can't sit and watch 4 or 5 hours of wrestling.
I don't know. Maybe that's not supposed to make money. I mean, the dad's so big. I mean, when you make that much money, you need write-offs.
Yeah,
that's true.
Could be.
I can't imagine them making money. Do they make money?
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they're making it hand over fist. I mean, you look at the WWE now, you look at all the sponsors that are on the mat, and like you never saw that back in the day.
Now,
and that's another thing.
On the ladder.
Now, I saw a meme the other day. I saw a meme the other day that it was Triple H with like someone put patches for sponsors all over his suit, and it's like this is probably going to be him at the next.
Somebody should get a tattoo of like Nike or something. You know what I'm saying? To get paid by Nike with a tattoo.
There you go.
Idea.
Yeah,
I agree.
The sponsorships they have, it says TKO written all over it. If you look at UFC shows, they've always got the sponsors all over the mat there also. But I want to get back in. Dickie had his fanboy moment before we went live with you. I want to share mine. I think my favorite moment in the whole time I watched ECW was the night you came back in '99 to the ECW arena. I don't think I ever on a television I never heard a crowd as loud as it was when you came back. So just can you talk a little bit about
Nobody knew. Nobody in the locker room knew. Until like 5 minutes before I appeared up on top of whatever that thing was or whatever. But we kayfabed everybody. Nobody in the locker room even knew what was happening.
How hard was it to keep kayfabe alive when you were when you had your?
Easy. I had a big van, so I just sat out in my van. I was watching TV. It was it was one of those with a bed in the back. There was captain's chairs. There was 4 of them. Little TV.
It's the most 90s thing I've ever heard. That's the most 90s description.
Yeah, dude, we all used to travel in the SANDMAN van. That's what we used to call it.
SANDMAN van. I love it.
We get like 6, 7 wrestlers in there. We'd all roll up the shows together.
Now, who all used to travel with you? I mean, I know Fonzie used
at certain times it's different because you're coming in and out of the company. You know what I mean? But a lot of times it was me, Fonzie, Todd, Scorpio, Nancy. You know, picking everybody up at the airport on Sunday because we were flying into Philly a lot back then because we were still a little bit more regional, and then going to New York, going to Allentown, going to Jim Thorpe, stuff like that from our base there. So everybody would fly in, and then we'd all meet at the airport, and then we'd roll from there.
So it's kind of like how Sabu with the Winnebago from.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love the story you told about the first time you rode in the Winnebago with Sabu when you had your beer.
Oh, when I spilled the beer, I spilled beer. It was none were opened or anything, but it was cans and ice in this thing. And oh my God, you should have seen the look on freaking Sabu and Fonzie's face. It was priceless. Oh my God, it was so very first day.
We've had Fonzie on our Jumping the Rails show a couple times.
Yeah, Fonzie's
we've had so much fun with him.
Great interview. Yeah. I mean, you got to realize that that guy's the matches that he's actually refereed in his life are like some of the biggest matches ever that have ever happened. Fonzie was the third guy in the ring. You know what I mean? So he knows everybody from years and years and years. I mean, he was rolling in the territories in the early 80s with all those guys. Mm-hmm. Like Kevin Sullivan and Dusty. He knew them all.
Yeah.
They all loved him,
wow.
dude. They all loved him. Never heard anybody say a bad word about that guy ever.
No.
Yeah, I've not had a chance to be on with Reb and Minderz when they've talked to him, but I mean, even just in passing, you always hear the stories about how good of a guy he is. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. So one thing, this is completely as my brother would say, this is completely shithouse luck that we have gotten on this day specifically because SANDMAN, you may not even realize it. You might. I know Reb. Okay, well,
just tell him, Dickie.
Here's the super fan Dickie coming forward here. 30 years ago today is the anniversary of the barbed wire match that you had with Cactus Jack at the ECW arena. It just so happened that today is the day 30 years ago that you had that match. Do you have any memories from that day or?
Oh yeah. For me, Cactus, I didn't really like him. He didn't really like me. At this point, I don't know if there's a dislike or whatever, but but it was so easy to work with him in the ring, dude. He was so easy. Just what a professional the guy was, so and he told me a lot.
Yeah, that's you can always tell. And then it also kind of ties into like another big angle that kind of involved him in a weird way. You don't really hear a lot of people talk about this, and I think it's one of the greatest moments in early ECW history. The return of the Funker, when you did the box trick and Funk came out of the box, and that was really something special.
Dude, I set that whole thing up. I got I was the one that got the red, white, and blue pants for me and Terry. And obviously the trash can was right there. I went to this Joanne fabric store, which I think just went bankruptcy in the last couple months. Yeah, that's funny that you know that. And I had to get I don't know. It was black. It was on a bolt, you know what I mean? And I got 9-10 feet of it or whatever. And then DC Drake was in there too with Funk. Mm-hmm. So he pulls out DC Drake first, and then they think, oh, that's the big surprise, you know what I mean? And then later on, and then Funk comes out with if you watch that again, it's all hard it's a lot of hard camera back then. It's not oh my God, you can almost throw up. They changed so many camera angles during a WWE pay-per-view or Monday night. I mean, it's like 8,000 camera shots in like a 10-minute match. It's like crazy.
Drones.
But then you just watch Funk, and then because they think it's me because it's the red, white, and blue pants, and he pulls the Cactus pulls the thing off of him, and as Terry turns to the audience, everybody's starting to realize who it is. And watch the audience instead of watching like what's going on in the ring. You just see the people go crazy.
Yeah, because I mean, there was
once because the people behind them didn't know who it was.
Yeah, there was no jumbotron to show what was going on.
Yeah,
It
right.
was very, very low budget,
Organic,
for lack of a better term. Or organic is a very good way to put it. Yeah, that had to be a pinch me moment of you're just standing in the ring dressed exactly like Terry Funk and just kind of looking around like, what is my life right now? That had to be just a great moment.
I was in 7th grade reading wrestling magazines about Terry Funk. I had never seen him before. You know, when I was a kid, dude, when I was 5 years old, I wanted to be a professional wrestler. By the time I was in 7th grade, I was getting all the magazines, Inside Wrestling and stuff like all the ones that Bill Apter wrote every article in. You guys probably never even on sale. Have you guys old enough to ever seen a wrestling magazine on sale at like a store, like a bookstore?
Yeah, I'm a little bit younger than Reb and Minderz. I kind of like came in towards the tail end of like PWI and all that stuff. So yeah, like I remember like getting the ECW magazine like whenever that was shortly being around and like all the PWIs and stuff like that.
We're 80s babies.
Yeah.
So Dickie, Madrox did send in a couple questions.
Yes, he's here in spirit.
Yeah, he asked. He says, "Ask what the ugliest belt he ever held was." Is the first question.
I don't have an answer for that.
Okay.
I don't think he remembers what belts he's held.
Yeah. But dude, honestly, I can tell you what the original ECW looks like with the eagle on it.
Oh, it's one of the best.
I can see that, but all the rest of them are just a blur. And maybe the spinner belt from freaking the spinner belt that what's his name at. That was different. You know what I mean? I can remember that.
He also wants to know why you look so much like Raven's therapist.
Why? Have you seen his therapist?
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Great. I need one right now. Everybody could use a therapist. I'm telling you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of staying in your head so much, you got to get it out to somebody.
100%. I actually see one every week, and it's one of the best decisions I ever made. One of the best decisions. So one thing I've always been very curious about. So the revival of ECW in 2006. Did anybody have like high hopes that it was going to be anything, or in the head shake tells me everything I need to know that doesn't even need the second part of this question.
No,
because
it's like when you get there, it's like how long you don't know. You know it had a born date and it had a dead date, and you knew it wasn't too far apart.
Yeah, because the second part of the question was if people were hopeful, like when was the moment that you knew, like, yeah, this isn't going to be anything?
I never expected it to go anywhere. Not one fiber of my being ever expected that.
Yeah, I mean, especially on the first one, they got you coming out caning a zombie. So
that was going to be my question, Dickie. Dude. Dang it! I was going to ask how much fun was it to knock that ECW zombie.
I thought I was being ribbed because I forgot it was the very first night of Sci-Fi. Mm-hmm. So I don't know that then until. So I don't know, one of those producer dudes comes to get me, and and there was an alien there in a bright green costume, this little small alien dude like you see in any movie or something like that. And then Timmy was there, and I'm like, yo, dude, are you ribbing me? This is what you want me to do? And then I'm like, sure, I'm getting ribbed. And then Dream was like, yo, Hack, it's first Sci-Fi episode. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I got it. I said, all right, because I knew Timmy and I wanted to get him to work. You know what I mean? So obviously I picked Timmy.
Right.
Yeah.
And I thought it was goofy, but I loved it because right then I understood that they know that they're not looking at me as a match person. they're looking at me as a part of a segment part. You know what I mean?
An
Just
attraction.
go out and cane somebody.
An
You know what I
attraction.
mean? That's why I was like, oh yeah, this is a good spot to be in.
Yeah.
You don't have
it's
to
a great
wrestle
spot.
or have to wrestle at all.
Just go out, beat someone with a cane, and get that paycheck. You know,
Do an entrance.
you made a career out of it.
Still am.
Still am, yeah.
Crazy.
Still am.
Dude, I've been so busy this year. I probably coming up into June. I've probably worked like at least 3/4 of the weekends.
That's
wow.
awesome.
Reb and I
Crazy
actually,
right now.
I say Reb and I actually saw you. Was it last year, Reb, that you were at Squared Circle Expo in Indianapolis with
They all run together.
Yeah, well, you were there with, it was Nova and Francine.
Rhino.
Franny's a frequent traveler with me.
Yep, and Douglas, Shane, and Blue. Was it Blue Meanie?
Did Shane Douglas talk the whole time?
Of course he did. Isn't that what he does the best?
So, I want to something I found out today. I didn't realize DDP had a big hand in getting you into WCW.
Yeah, so I was in Atlanta, and him and Raven were friends, and it was DDP's party at some big club. So we went, and me and DDP got along really well. In fact, his wife got pissed that he was spending so much time talking to me. So whatever. But he said to me that night, he goes, "Dude, if you ever need a job, just get a hold of me." And I told him, I said, "No, dude, I'm never leaving ECW. I don't want to go. I didn't really want to go anywhere else. I would have liked to have been that guy that could have been in the same company the whole time and never have been in another company, really. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or like had the same wrestling name your whole career. How many people do that? That's why I was pissed.
One, two.
I'm sure if we sit and think about it, we could probably pick a couple.
Yeah. Well, Undertaker and Flair are the first two, or Undertaker and Sting are the first two that come to my mind.
Taker doesn't count. Mean Mark Callis. Are you forgetting about Mean Mark Callis? Come on.
When he became popular, though, he was already the Undertaker.
Okay, fair. That's fair.
Okay.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, though. It's just if you could go, is there anybody that had one name their whole career? Unless it was the guy it was his real name, maybe back in like the 40s, 50s or something. Maybe.
I mean, even Cena on the Indies was the prototype, so you can't even count him.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, that was long before he was well known. Long before he was well known.
The only guy I can think of is Dreamer. This is the closest I can think of. Everywhere I've seen Tommy Dreamer, he's been Tommy Dreamer.
Wow, he's so close to me, I didn't even think of him. That's crazy. No, he had to have another name.
I don't know.
I'm on it. You guys.
Mindy, hit the Wikipedia and let's get to the bottom of this.
Listen, Wikipedia is useless, dude. They have my birthday as June 16th. It's June 19th. People always text me on the 16th, the last couple of days. It's not even my birthday yet, but Guido texted me today, happy birthday. And I'm like,
that might be. Okay, can I just say right now, this is the greatest moment of my podcasting career. Hearing Sandman say Guido texted me happy birthday on the wrong day. I just peaked. That was so great, man. That was so great.
Oh, Tommy did have another name.
Oh, okay.
According to
the
Wikipedia.
Italian stud.
No. T.D. Madison.
Wow. That was probably for a brief moment.
That's a deep cut, Minderz. That's a very deep cut.
Wait, does it say who was he working for? Like Tommy Fierro then or something? Who was like he working for in New York? I know him and Guido. I think maybe him and Guido used to work for Fierro. I don't know.
Carluzzo, would it be?
I don't know. I doubt it with Carluzzo and Dreamer.
He was in International World Class Championship Wrestling under the name T.D. Madison. Where
how many matches did they have?
Looks like
cup of coffee.
Maybe.
All right. Okay.
All
right, so I'm glad he had two now. He hasn't beat me in that.
He changed his name to Tommy Dreamer, reportedly after taking his given first name and adding Dreamer in tribute to Dusty Rhodes in '92 while working in New England.
Dude, have you ever seen a guy rip off more freaking legends? Dude, he'll come out with the polka dot pants and and then he'll have Funk's freaking bandana on, and he'll be carrying a cane with him. I'm like, Jesus Christ, Tommy.
He stole Raven's pose. He stole Raven's pose.
What were you saying, Reb?
He'd also have the shopping cart full of weapons like New Jack every now and then. So.
Oh, wow. I never put all that together, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, but we did that before New Jack. We actually took a beer ball. If you guys, there's a picture of me, him, and his wife, and Beulah coming through the locker. And we used to do these things were beer balls. It was a ball that carried like fucking 7 gallons of beer in it or something like that. Back in the day, they used to sell these things. So that's the only reason why I remember we brought a shop with. One time, me and him brought a shopping cart together before New Jack was even in the company.
Wow.
So he didn't rip that off from New Jack.
I'm just curious. Okay. How many beers could you fit in your pants pockets? I figure at least
the 6. One pair of pants that I had, it was like back in the day, those parachute pants that were made out of like nylon.
Those Zubas, man.
Everywhere. I could carry literally like 9 beers.
Oh, wow.
You know, they had those cargo pants on each side. You could carry 4 just right there. And then you get 2 more in your back pocket. You're at 6 right there. And then you got your front pockets, 1 each, and then 1 in your hand.
There you go.
There's your 9.
All right. Minderz is making me ask this question. So we.
No.
Oh, yeah. Put the heat on somebody else.
Put the heat on Minderz. That's what I do. But we do a watch along podcast. Also, we're doing all the ECW on TNN episodes. And Guido has come up.
Oh, the what episodes?
All the TNN episodes. But. So anyway, we see a lot of Guido on here, and it's just occurred to us that his feet were freaking huge, and we never
imagine how long his other crap was.
I knew that was coming. I knew it was coming.
I mean, come on, you guys! You held up a hoop. I got to jump through that.
That's true.
Low hanging fruit, right, Hack? Low hanging fruit.
You know what though? Why is it every time we ask that question, all the ECW guys that we've asked that question to, it's all
same reason that day. I got small hands and small feet for a reason.
Well, that question always ends up going to somebody's package that somebody saw in the back. It's ridiculous.
I think Angel has won the prize so far, though.
Yeah, Angel has won the prize so far from the Baldies. So,
what's the prize at this point? Yeah. My Lord,
he's got the best one so
far. He's got the biggest.
What do you get? A congratulations and a handshake on that one, Minderz?
Yep. What are you talking about? And a tub of M&Ms. That's what.
A tub. Okay, there we go. There we go. So I think that we would be remiss if we not mention, Sabu, tragic story, terrible. Ironically, one of my first ECW pay-per-views that I ever saw was November to Remember 97, where you guys had the tables and ladders match.
Was it in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, Reb, fact check me on that one. Okay.
Yeah, I was pissed because they threw some tables that weren't new, and they threw them under the ring, and we didn't. And we pulled out a couple of ones who were the shits, but we went with them anyway.
But yeah, that to this day remains one of my favorite matches of yours. What was it like going into those matches with Sabu? Because I mean, like you both had not necessarily conflicting styles, but they complemented each other. Like I often make the joke, and I say it with all the love in the world, that you are the king of maximum effort for the craziest spots, like grabbing the ladder, vaulting yourself over the top rope, throwing the ladder. Like what thought process, or should I say how many beers, went into the decision that this is what I'm going to do?
I don't know, dude. It's just, if you're an athlete, you're an athlete. Some of those things just happen, and it's off the cuff. It's not a call. Like the time I leaped the top rope, didn't touch anything, leaped the top rope, cane cactus on the head, landed on my feet, and then just went like this.
Yeah.
Back in the day, a lot of people weren't doing. Now people were doing triple indies and landed on their feet out there. But
yeah,
you know what I mean, back then people weren't doing that stuff, and I don't know, it just happens. But working with Sabu was different, a lot different than working with almost everybody else, because you had to call. You called a lot more when you were in a match with Tommy Dreamer or Raven, and you're out there. Dude, you're out there with Nova, Meanie, my wife, my kid and stuff. You're talking way, way more. Sabu, you don't have to talk because it's like if he's going for a table, I know he's going for a table. He's not going to say, yo, dude, I'm going to go grab this table. I can see that plainly, you know what I mean? So we have spots set up that we know, and we know what order the spots are going to happen. So we really don't have to talk about the because if I shoot you in there and I got my arm up, you're taking a clothesline.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was easy with him like that. You really didn't have to talk like much at all. I talked more than Fonzie in a match than I would with freaking Sabu.
I would believe that. I would believe that
all the time.
Yeah, and I'm sure with matches like that, and I'm sure with matches like that, it's just like, hey, we got some ladders, we got some tables, let's go beat the shit out of each other. Let's go see. Yeah, let's go have fun.
That was fun doing that stuff, dude. I didn't want to be a tackle, drop down, hip toss, arm drag thing. That didn't interest me.
Yeah.
I think the craziest bump I ever saw you take was in, I think it was the tag match, you and Funk against Cactus and Douglas, when Cactus laid you out on a table, then he just flipped the table over to the floor.
I broke my neck.
Yeah.
I cracked that was my spot, and it was my fault because I told him I wanted to do that spot. He goes, you sure you want to do this? I said, yeah. But so when I'm laying against the table, my hands are the only thing holding me. So when he picks up the bottom I wanted him to push my feet a little bit more to get my feet over my head. Mm-hmm. But I let go of the table too early with my hands, and I slipped down and landed right on top of my head, and I broke my C4. Man. I wrestled through it. Didn't even know I broke it until a couple years later in Florida when they were giving me an MRI. They thought my neck was broken. I said, that didn't happen tonight. That happened a couple years ago. Didn't even know it.
Oh, wow.
I got back by the chiropractor the next morning. Sunday morning, I had him come in to crack me.
Oh, wow.
So you were talking about how much.
Broke my C4 in half.
Ooh.
And wrestled through it. Wrestled the next weekend and just kept wrestling.
That's crazy.
That's insane. I should have been in one of those halos that Gary was in. That halo was real, dude. That thing was screwed into his head in like the 4 places. That was real. Now, when Shane grabbed it later on, it had already taken off and he had been healed.
Uh-huh.
So then it was just gimmicks on there for when they did that spot.
But
and that looked great.
The halo before that.
Shane. Wow, that got Shane probably the most heat he ever did, anything else he ever did in that building.
Well, I was disappointed because you were speaking of that one, and I went back and was watching some ECW. They don't even show the crucifixion on Peacock. I was so mad.
It makes no sense. How come it can happen in a movie? It's entertainment. We're in the entertainment business. If you could do it in a movie, why can't you do it in a wrestling match?
Mm-hmm.
It makes no sense to me.
They left Kurt Angle on that with his terrible commentary of the first match.
Dude, so wait a minute. You couldn't have made the Passions of Christ the movie if you think about it like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's fine to do it there, but you can't do it in front of 1,000 people in a building in Philadelphia?
And tell a better story.
It's never made any sense to me.
And tell a good story.
So what was that conversation when Raven had to go out and apologize? Did they just
you just said circle and I disagreed vehemently. I told them all they were assholes. And then,
okay, that's kind of the answer.
Raven even went out there and did it.
Yeah.
No, dude, I was pissed.
He did it that night, right?
Dude, you don't. Yeah, he did it right after that. Dude, we don't apologize for shit. What the fuck is going on here? But it was only because Kurt Angle was there the very first night he was there.
That was my next question. That was my next question of it. Had Kurt Angle not been there, do you think the apology wouldn't have been forced?
It wouldn't have happened at all.
Yeah.
It would not have happened at all. Guaranteed.
Yeah, that's one of the most iconic images.
Going on. Paul standing there going to Kurt, I had no idea they were going to do this.
Okay, so now I think, Reb Minderz, this is the time where I do my infamous Paulie voice that I always do.
Yes, please do.
Okay, Hack, Scotty, you got to go out there and apologize. Is that about how it sounded?
No, I was like, I ain't no shit, dude. You crazy. No way. No freaking way, dude.
So was there anybody on the ECW roster that you dreaded when you saw your name next to him, that you dreaded seeing your name next to him? No,
absolutely not. Unless it was Taz, but they always Paul knew not to put me together. Well, it made no sense putting me and Taz in a match against each other. You know what I mean? That makes no sense for one. And for two, Paul knew how a couple of us, like me, Van Dam, Sabu, how a bunch of us felt about him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
But I did go out with him the day. I'm living in Salt Lake City. I went out there to start a construction business because the Olympics were starting out there. It was 96 when I went out there.
Mm-hmm.
Started a great concrete company. So I hurt my knee when I was in a tag match like that summer, and I hurt my knee, and it was the only time they said "you fucked up" chant to me. So and I remember that there was a couple "you fucked up" chants. So I got the surgery. It was like arthroscopic, where they just put the 3 holes in there back in the day. No, they didn't like cut you up the knee or anything. And so I had my surgery early there because I was ahead in time. Flew back to Philly with my daughter because my daughter wanted to come back to there for something because all our relatives were there. And I let Taz choke me out that night in the Lulu Temple in Conshohocken, and not too far from the arena actually. So I think that was the only time I was ever in a match was with him, and I was out there with like this long kind of like. It's like got the Velcro straps, your whole, it's from your ankle all the way up to your hip. And he just choked me out. And I remember, and I think he beat up Fonzie too. And I just remember we've watched it later on tape, and me and him are just lay with each other. I'm supposed to be choked out because he chokes me out. You know what I mean? But probably chokes Todd out too. And we're just laying there cracking up, laughing at each other. And we're like, what the fuck are we doing in here?
Was there a lot of those moments where it's like just trying to make each other break and like, what the fuck are we even doing? Like, we're just like, doing little jokes and stuff.
All the time. Like with Raven, you play that circle game. You know what the circle game is? You get him to look at it, you punch him. Or punch buggy, you know what that one is? When you're in a car and you see a Volkswagen. You're always trying to pop somebody doing something. You're together a lot of time and a lot on the road and hotels and all that shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. You entertain yourself by screwing with everybody. Everybody screws with everybody. You know what I mean? Because if you're not laughing, you're going to be crying.
Yeah.
You're going to be missing your kids or whatever, missing whatever you are.
So are there any on the road stories that you can't tell? Because we've had a lot of stories.
They're only the good ones are the ones you can't tell. God, there's a million of them.
We've had a lot of good ones. We've heard a lot of good ones. So
we got a couple more minutes here, Sandman. We really appreciate you making the time for us. But I wanted to ask you about the podcast. You do it with Brian Tosh and your boys.
My sons. Ty, who the one was in the angle with Raven, and one of my other younger sons, Oliver. Yeah, he doesn't know nothing about my wrestling. He missed all the wrestling.
Oh wow!
Because he's like 26. So he doesn't know like any of the ECW stuff or anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that podcast drops on what day is it?
Dude, I'm so bad at plugging my own shit. Can you guys plug it for me, please?
Plug it for him,
it looks like the latest episode.
Dude, I'm so bad at this.
I am.
It's like fine. I know, but doesn't everybody say just look for it on your podcast and the avenues that you get?
Yep.
I don't know. It's probably like the real ECW Sandman or ECW Sandman or something like
Sandman. That. It's the Sandman podcast on like Apple Podcast and Spotify. It looks like.
I don't know. There's like 4 or 5 of them. But
we have a friend that we know in wrestling. His name's Clayton Clark, and every time he's on my podcast, he'll plug his social media, and he gives a different name every time. And I got to tell him after, I'm like, Clayton, that's not what your social media is, brother.
Yeah, but has there anybody ever come on and been like, I don't know where you can find me?
No, I think this is the first. This is the first.
I know. I did the same thing. I was on Busted Open Radio, and Bubba asked me to push it. I'm like, I don't know where you got
this is not the first time that people did not know where they were at.
Yeah, I don't feel like such a moron then.
Well, Sam, man, we're gonna have to have you back on sometime because we
Lovely.
have to scratch the surface with you.
Anytime. You guys are cool. I can't wait. Maybe next time you have the one-legged dude in.
Yeah,
He would love to be here. He would love to be here. He's as big of a fan of you as I am, and you're a constant topic on our podcast. We talk about you quite frequently. I have my graded SANDMAN trading card here that's always here, and I got my hardcore hack figure that I have in my studio. So,
Dude, that's what helps to keep me booked. Dude, I've signed like a couple thousand of those cards in like the last I don't know, in the last year.
Yeah,
they send me boxes of the things and I sign them, and that keeps you live. And then having me on last year's game.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
That helps too. You know,
for sure.
Because it's crazy how and just the Peacock or where you can watch so many matches of mine. Like you have these like 12-year-old kids come up to you and they're like, "Oh my God, you're my favorite wrestler ever." I'm like, yeah, you watch a lot of Peacock, don't you? Like, oh,
yeah, I've said it. You are steadily in my top 5 of all time, and it has been an absolute pleasure to get to talk to you.
Thank God for that Peacock, dude.
Yeah.
People wouldn't know who we were now. You know what I mean? You know, it's that Peacock's great.
Well, that's kind of the reason we went back and started doing our Extreme Effing review. Because, like, right now, we're actually getting ready to go into Hardcore Heaven. Is that the one we're doing? Yeah, we're getting ready to do Hardcore Heaven from 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're doing something this week. My son was just up here. I should have asked him what we were doing this week. That'd be funny if we were doing the same show.
All right.
Hey, there you go.
Sam, and thank you so much for being
like
on.
3 times. I don't know.
Thank you so much for being on. We really appreciate
yes,
it.
This was a pleasure.
We'll get back in touch. We'll get you on again.
Thank you, guys. Peace.
Peace.
Thank
Have
you.
a nice one.
Yep. All right. We're going to let Dickie breathe while we pay some bills.
Let's play some bills.
But
and then we'll come back and let Dickie fanboy out.
Yes. All right. All right,
we lost him.
He ran away.
He ran away. Oh.
Dickie.
Hi.
You all right, Dickie? You okay?
I didn't know what to do with that bit. I was like, I'll be out of the chair whenever they come back, but I didn't know how to kill the bit. So
you're welcome, Dickie.
Man, yes. I did not expect him to be ready to go at 5 o'clock.
Yes. Apologies to the listeners who couldn't get live. I mean, he was. We just get the message, and Reb's like, "Hey, he's here." So I was literally playing Tetris on my Switch, and I just set it down and I ran and like got all ready. I was like, "I guess we're going."
In midair as you run to the computer room.
Yeah, we could see that your legs twisting in midair.
It looked like Shaggy and Scooby Doo when they're running away from the ghost. Yeah.
Zoinks.
All right, Dickie.
Wow.
So we made your year, right?
Yeah, that truly. I don't want to get too maudlin with this, but we make the jokes. We make all the Dickie's a fanboy, but no, like truly, this may be one of the crown jewels of my podcasting career. Like, it's definitely a bucket list item. How often do you get to talk to one of your top 5s? So. Right. I love that we could collaborate and make it happen. And I know that we're going to make it happen even more. I know that there's going to be more instances of Bash the Rail. And, I'm not really going to focus too much on what we just did. I'm more looking on where we go from here, what we do. Yeah, that's the one. Next? That's the one.
Well, I'll tell you who I'm thinking of, and I'll get your guys' opinion. I've got 3 on my bucket list right now that I would like for us to get. The 3 I've got are Gene Snitsky. I want Snitsky.
It's not his fault.
I I want Francine.
Yes.
And I want Shane Douglas.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably, at least through this person that I was able to contact that has connections with all those people.
Do you understand the ego that this man is now going to have, considering that within the first 2 minutes of the fucking interview, Sandman goes, "So where's the one-legged guy?"
Right?
Oh my God. I cannot wait to tell him that one. That's going to be something special.
I got to admit, when he said, "You guys are cool," I was like, "All right, we made it.
We made it. We're good.
We made it. We're over with Sandman. We're over with Sandman." And it happened exactly how I was hoping it would when I mentioned the TNA, because I was really struggling. I was like, do I put that in the introduction? And I was like, TNA Hard 10 winner, and he just comes in. Just gave me that look, and I was like, all right, he gets it.
I thought you were going to go to the Junkyard Battle Royal Hardcore Invitational thing.
That's the question I didn't get to. That's the question I didn't get to.
4 questions to get to with him, so we'll have to get him back on at some point.
You know what's funny is when we were talking about this, like off camera on our as I call it, the secret post show. I always like I told you guys, I was like, I have 7 questions. And then Reb just looked at me like this, and I flew through them. Except for the one I didn't get asked about the Junkyard match, because the plan was start with the TNA Hard 10 and then go, hey, speaking of crowning moments, let's talk about. But then just the conversation was just flowing so well. That was I'm probably going to listen back to that and go, oh, I dominated that conversation. I don't feel like I did, though. I feel like we all got to ask what we wanted to.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about the first time we had Fonzie on. I feel like I did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second time Fonzie was on, it was all Narge and Marco.
And they were drunk.
And they were drunk.
That was our 100th episode. But
no, the thing that got me is it's like I think I expected him to elaborate a little bit more on my questions, because I was like, the WWECW question is going to be a probably good 5-minute conversation. He's like, no, it just sucked. It was just like, okay, well, that answers that question. Hack, thank you.
After watching a few of his podcasts that he's had on other ones, I was like, okay, these are going to be quick answers. These are all going to be quick answers.
And I kind of had a feeling about that too, but it's like, you also, whenever you prepare for an interview like that, like, you don't want to ask the same questions that every single person asks. And that's the problem.
We had him.
I'm sorry?
When Angel was on, he said, make sure you have something original.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the struggle that us as podcasters and as interviewers face, is that it's like, how do we make it unique? How do we make it like, worth their time, stuff like that. And, the fact that he jumped on, so I was like, you don't really, this is why it was good that it played out the way it did. You just had to go. You didn't have to think about it. You just, okay, good. We're here. Boom. Let's go. And if anyone wants to hear about what was on my end, what was talked about before we went live, tune into Paid Show. Because I will tell you, there was a really funny Reb and I moment where we didn't even communicate it to each other. I said something and then Reb set it up in a funny way, and then it was just, you guys are just, everybody, patreon.com/madbashstudios.
I think we have to stop asking about Guido's feet. We're not.
No, because I
was going to say, like, that is the weirdest fucking question. Like, I understand that it's a bit. I get bits, don't get me wrong, but it's like, you guys, come on.
No, you have to, because this is how we figure out. Okay, I'll start asking it then. Start asking it then.
Because it makes me seem like I'm weird.
You are weird.
At least we didn't make Sweet Potato.
Yeah, we didn't ask him about Jason's Sweet Potato.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, no, it was a very good time. Very good time. Everyone look for that on where me and Madrox are going to do a little bit at the top. We're going to splice it together, put it on the Spot Show feed, and then we're going to have a fun paid show.
Yeah, we had issues with our Facebook Live, so this is going out on YouTube. I'll repost it on our Facebook page after we're done,
Oh,
And-
okay.
and then it'll drop as a podcast on Jumping the Rail on Thursday morning, 6:05 a.m. Central Time. And
Yeah,
Are we
I was
calling it-
curious. I was curious why we weren't getting Facebook comments.
yeah,
Well, then I tried posting something and it said, was the stream deleted because we had it set up for 6.
I'm not sure what happened.
Ah, okay.
So we're good.
But we'll get it up there. It'll be up there.
Am I
So-
the only one that had a slight panic attack the first time that his camera froze?
No, and you know why? You know how many times we've dealt with frozen cameras?
Yeah, for sure.
We're to the point, we're more concerned whenever it starts going into the.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
That's
my
when we
podcast
start.
with Jay Silva that is unlistenable. But I got it all figured out now. We're all good.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so are we calling this an episode, guys?
I
And
think
Reb, we've got time. Do we want to do our regular show?
Well, I didn't really have anything planned for the regular show, but
We could go ahead and at least talk about what we saw this past weekend, I think.
we can do that. Dickie, if you want to hang out with us for a few more,
I'll stick around. I was planning on doing this at this time anyway, so here we are.
Right?
Let's go. Let's go.
so of course, big story. Liv Morgan separated her shoulder. Sounds like she's gonna be out for a few months.
I heard 16 weeks.
Yeah, that's about what I heard too. About 4 months. So
Yep.
so it sounds like they're gonna have to give up the tag titles, which I thought it would make more sense to have Roxy slide in there and take her spot.
Which they may.
They still
Or
may.
did they make up or did they relinquish them last
They
night?
did
I
say-
didn't catch Raw last night,
No,
so
they didn't relinquish anything last night. I'm just curious where they're going to go with it. But let's see. Sean had a comment earlier. He said
something
I
about
told
Jade winning.
Jade was going to win. Yeah, Jade won. So she's going to wrestle Roxy next Monday on.
And I
on
saw Jay won, which that pissed me off too. Okay, let's see how we were. Where's my we need to see how our list turned out here.
While you're doing that, I have to go grab something that I want to break on this podcast because it's a through line that people have been following. I'll be right back.
All right.
Minderz, did you throw up in your mouth a little bit last night when Oldberg showed up?
Yes.
Are
The
you mad
one
at-
part I did see last night was when his ass showed up. And I was like, no.
They wouldn't put the belt on him, would they?
They better not. They better. If they put the belt on Oldberg, I'm going to question everything that Triple H does from now on.
Oh, that better not happen. I swear to God. Like I put my headphones on in the middle of that and I just heard if Triple H does that, I knew right away. I knew right away.
It feels like a Dick Ebersol booking decision.
It's terrible.
But
So I wonder how much money they paid him.
probably multiple thousands of dollars. But
Where he should be paying them, not
Right.
them paying him.
the
But
only way I could possibly be, I'm not even gonna say okay with, but I could accept him winning the belt is if Seth cashed in on him immediately afterwards and took the belt off of him.
no, I'm not even okay with that.
I gotta go with Reb on that one. I think I would be okay with it too.
I just
I
don't want
won't.
him to hold it. I don't want.
No, I don't want him to have it. Period.
Another
He-
Gunther hang on to it, but
Gunther better hang on to it. Because this is happening, what, Saturday night main
John,
event?
what are you trying to say here? It was
I don't know.
an EHV. I don't know what that means.
I
So
have no idea.
So speaking of modern like what's been going on, so for anyone who is also a listener of the Spot Show podcast, this is breaking news. Recently,
Hang on.
Wait.
oh yes, I always forget about the bits. I always
Yeah,
forget.
yeah, we have bits.
So if anyone listens to anything that that I'm ever on, as some of you know, I have entered my Topps Now era. I have been collecting Topps trading cards. My first purchase was the Randy Orton and John Cena from Backlash card. I ordered 5 of them. As you can see on camera, I am only holding 4 of them. These are the base cards. Why am I only holding 4 base cards? Well, I will tell you why. Because Dickie Wabash was lucky enough to get 2 out of 25 orange refractor Tops Now trading card, John Cena, Randy Orton.
Nice. Yay.
If anyone really cares, as much as they may. I do not know. But we're talking about wrestling. This is the first time I've got a chance to talk about it. 2 of 25. Bidding starts at $50.
Reb, we have
Yeah.
a problem.
What?
You know how we were figuring out the whole King of the Ring thing last week?
Uh-huh.
Did we not do Queen of the Ring?
Yeah, we did.
We did?
Did you not?
Hold
write it
on. I got to find it.
down? Well, I know we completely whiffed on the mystery entrant.
Oh,
because
yeah,
of
we
the
completely
thing.
missed out on that. I thought ours was better, though.
Yeah, because we should have been Ilya.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Well, apparently we're both out because neither one of us had Jade.
No, Sean wants to know why we're pissed that Jade won. We're not pissed. Just
We're
didn't
not
think it was gonna
pissed. We just don't think she deserves it.
happen. I'm not even
I
going to say
don't.
that. I just figured
Jade is a Nepo baby.
to go there.
All right, so let's see. How are we doing so far, Reb? Let's go to the guys.
Flavor of the month.
Because Sammy won.
Sammy won, so he gets
Who?
Orton Friday.
Oh, we both missed on that one. We both had Mello. We both had Mello.
Then Cody won, so I was out there. Because I forget who I picked for that, but it wasn't Cody.
Andrade.
Andrade, okay.
No, I picked Andrade. You picked Nakamura.
Oh, that's right. And then we were wrong because we thought it was going to be either Sheamus or Ilya, and it wound up being Jay.
And I said Rusev or Ilya.
Mm-hmm.
And ended up being Jay.
So we're getting Jay and Cody on Monday, and then Orton and Sammy on SmackDown to determine the finals.
Okay. What do we have on women then?
Oh, yes, we know. We mentioned it.
Oh, and I sure hope it's Randy Orton because that's going to do good things for me in the Mad Bash PLE draft, which I haven't even factored Money in the Bank yet because I haven't even watched Money in the Bank yet. I was
go
on
watch
vacation.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, I plan on it.
I was going to ask if you had updated standings so far.
Not yet. We will have those next week.
Gotcha. All right. Reb,
yeah,
what's the women so far?
The women's, it is Roxanne against Jade on Monday, and then Alexa against whoever wins.
This
Asuka.
Friday?
Alexa and Asuka.
Well, let's go to Alexa.
Okay, so neither one of us is going to get points for Queen of the Ring because we don't have any of them on our teams.
Right.
Well,
Asuka
yeah, and
knows that you've missed out on because she wasn't eligible when you had your draft.
right.
Yeah, she was out, and I got to start thinking around SummerSlam season about who I'm going to pick up in free agency.
Oh yeah.
Reb,
do
you're
you
still
replace people on your roster, or do you just add to it?
So with the way we do it is that you can drop one, you're allowed one drop, and then you can pick up someone in their place, and then you get 3 free agents.
Gotcha. Okay.
Reb, I liked our booking better, but it's none of ours is going to work.
Yeah. Well, I'd be okay if it gets us Cody and Orton at Crown Jewel or Night of Champions.
Yeah.
But I just still feel like Cody
Wait.
doesn't need it.
What's the one? What's the one that's? Isn't it Night of Champions? That's CM Punk and
Cena.
Cena.
Sean, I actually mentioned this too. It could happen. I don't know if that's where they're going to go with Roxanne teaming with Raquel.
That would be the, in theory, booking, but who knows?
That would be the most interesting because that would really cause some heat when Liv came back.
Mm-hmm. What is it? Every time Dom has a girlfriend, she messes up,
Gets hurt,
and then he steals and he goes with somebody else.
Well, Roxy's already there.
Mm-hmm.
My sister took a picture of me doing the Dominic Mysterio flex on a bridge in Carousel last week, by the way.
I saw that.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite pictures of myself. Pat myself in the back here. I'm riding that. I'm on cloud 9.
I was saying you're on cloud 9. So.
I'm on cloud 9.
Reb, I had to wear the X Bomber shirt because they called me out on Facebook. So
Oh yeah.
I had to wear it.
What did you do?
No, I didn't do anything. They just asked me, or they asked their fans, or they asked the group. They said, "Hey, we need some motivation," and I said, "Well, Sandman's going to be on podcast tomorrow night," and they go, That's not motivation. That is unless you wear the X Bomber shirt on there. And I laughed because when they sent me that, I actually already had it on. And when I sent him a picture, I was like, "It's funny that you should say that."
Yeah.
Yep, there it is.
There it is. Very nice. AJ says you could always go the Matt Morgan route and have Raquel defend the women's tag belt solo. She is a lady hoss and could do that.
That would be interesting. That would be very interesting. You don't see that anymore, though. You don't see very much out of the box booking, and I think that would be different. I would like to see that personally. Yeah. I think it'd be cool.
Oh, by the way, I'm so glad you mentioned Funk in a Box during the interview.
No one talks about it. No one talks about it, and it's one of the coolest ECW moments.
I actually watched that today.
It's so good.
I found like this really nice 2-hour YouTube about nothing but Sandman. So I watched it while I was at work today.
I love that.
Well, Minderz, did you wind up with Hoots and Judy's this week?
No.
I didn't either, but I did have a Judy. My Judy, I'm going Becky Lynch because she wore bear shit to the Green Bay.
That's classic. Yeah, I didn't really prepare for a show because I knew we were doing this. But
yeah, I was planning on just Sandman because this is technically not a jumping the rail episode.
This is Bash the Rail. But
I mean, we need to figure out what exactly these are going to be. Are they always just going to be like? Are they like a hybrid? This is okay. First of all, this is what Dickie Wabash does. He talks about behind the scenes planning on microphone all the time. So the way I look at it, let's talk about the normal jumping the rail stuff and then go off the rail with how we do on Spot Show.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we really didn't prepare for it. So tell us what's going on Mad Bash this week.
Oh, man.
Doing a show this week.
Yeah.
The match for the next Mad Bash show in Danville.
Yeah, we announced it. We announced a date. Don't want to get into shootout territory here and talk about local stuff, but we announced a date, July 20th, Danville, Illinois. Mad Bash Wrestling proudly presents Nothing Personal, It's Just Business. So far, one match has been announced, 3-way dance for the Mad Bash Wrestling Championship, Devontae Knox versus Dalton Davis versus Colby Jack.
Thanks.
So that's going to be the ECW mark in me is coming out because I booked a 3-way dance.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. Yeah, we're working
on make sure you listen tomorrow, Dickie, for the independent shootout because there are lots of interesting things that happen this weekend.
I've heard there's a lot of interesting things that may have happened behind the scenes, but
we heard that too.
Yeah, but that's for paid show.
Yeah, definitely.
But that's what I'm very excited about this, man. This is actually going to be a standalone Mad Bash wrestling show.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
NVW is going to sponsor a couple of matches, but this is not, and this is the first time I publicly talked about this. This is actually going to be, they're sponsoring a couple of matches, but it's not going to be the Danville double feature. This is standalone, a Mad Bash wrestling show, and I'm very excited about it.
And this is at Rabbit Town?
For commentary.
Yes. Oh, commentary. I'll definitely, we'll talk. We'll talk. I would love to get you on for that at some point.
He wants you. He doesn't want me.
Hey, you did.
Well, I know. Reb is the one that started doing it first.
Well, Minderz was my color analyst at AVW.
Clayton was telling me that. Yeah.
You did a fine job, I think.
That's probably going to go to the ether. But anyways.
No, we'll make sure you get a copy of it.
Yep.
Yeah. But that's really cool. That's really cool that you guys are dipping your heels in commentary, my neck of the woods. So
we're trying. At least see if we're any good at it.
Madrox just texted me, so I'm over with the Sandman.
Yes, you are, Madrox. You are.
I love that. But yeah, I'm very excited for Nothing Personal. It's Just Business. It's going to be a good show. I haven't announced any matches publicly yet. But I will go ahead and confirm someone that's booked on the show. Zach Abstract will be making his return to Mad Bash Wrestling. Nice. He will be defending the Baja Open Invitational World Championship. We don't know against
Assuming he
who?
still has it.
Assuming, well, he will. I'm going to be sure that he does.
He got railroaded by that fellow in Japan when he was over there.
Yeah,
Off with it, so you got to be careful.
It's definitely something he's got to keep his eyes on. But yeah, he will be in attendance. He will be on the show. He will be making his return to Mad Bash Wrestling. Yeah, I got nothing.
Nice.
I'm joking.
Oh, you're good.
I'm joking, but yeah, no, it's going to be a fun show. If nobody has ever been to a Mad Bash Wrestling show or seen our brand of professional wrestling, and I'm not just saying this because it's my company, I think you guys are really missing out. At one point we were told that we're on the ground floor of an independent wrestling breakthrough. And you just look at the talent that we're booking. I think that we're really onto something special. I really do think that Mad Bash Wrestling is one of the best kept secrets in the Midwest. And I think that this year we're ready to break out.
Can you do me a favor?
Maybe.
Can you send me the card for EVP this week?
EPW?
Or yeah, EPW.
Yes, I will.
She wants a Christmas card from the Young Bucks.
Screw you. No, I don't.
Matthew and Nicholas
have a super kicking Christmas.
Shut up. All right. Are we going to get out? We may as well get out of here.
Let's get out of here. Oh, so
yeah.
So next week, there will not be a new episode of Jumping the Rail. We will be going into the JT archive for that one because I will not be around. Minderz on the shootout next week. You're going to have a special co-host.
I am.
You are.
Dickie, what are you? Are you my special co-host?
Am I?
Dickie is not your special co-host.
I couldn't remember what I agreed to.
Apparently, you're not my special co-host.
You agreed Thursday. We're recording next week's Extreme FM review, Hardcore Heaven.
Yes,
2000.
I will be there for that, and I forgot until you reminded me.
You got a Sandman
earlier
match.
today.
You got a Sandman
match. It's Sandman week here, boys.
It is.
Let's go.
Tomorrow on the Independent Wrestling Shootout, we'll talk about Dreamwave. We'll talk about EPW. We'll talk about AVW. We'll talk. We're gonna have the Jersey Devil Mike Noble joining us for a chat for the first time.
Joy.
Hey, he was
he hasn't heard my commentary yet.
With me at the last show when he did one match with me.
I know.
And then so this one is going to drop. Like I said, we'll repost this episode on our Facebook, and then it'll drop on podcast 6:05 a.m. Thursday morning on all of the podcast platforms. And then Dickie, you're going to take this and you're going to cut it up and put it on your Patreon for Mad Bash Studios.
Yes. The video of this, of the Sandman video, of the Sandman interview specifically, you can find that on our Patreon, patreon.com/Mad Bash Studios, $10 tier. I'm not sure when that's going to be going up, but it will be going up. So I guess I lied to you earlier when I said I just needed the audio. I do need the video of this as well.
Sure.
But and then we will have Madrox and I will have this on the Spot Show podcast feed, available wherever you get podcasts.
Sounds good.
We love it. We love it.
Let's have Tony get us out of here.
All right. Well, Dickie, I'm glad you were able to join us for this one.
Thank you.
I'm glad you didn't cry.
You didn't yet. He's going to as soon as we.
How do you know?
I know you, Dickie.
All right. Well, big thank you to the Sandman for joining us today.
Huge shout out to him.
Awesome.
He's a good brother.
He was early. I think he's earned hoot status.
He's my hoot of the year. He's my hoot of the year.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah. So I know probably a lot of our audience missed that because we did start about an hour early. But like I said, we're going to have him back because we haven't scratched the surface with the Sandman. So
sounds good to me.
All right. So until next,
2 weeks.
2 weeks, we'll be back live with another episode. And I can announce our guest will be Johnny Swinger, another ECW original. So he's going to join us. But until then, for Dickie and for Minderz, this is Reb. Remind y'all, life is hard, work stiff. We'll see you guys next time.